Connor, how do you feel about Ole Miss for next season? Do you think they're cooked? Do you think they can replicate what they did this year without Lane Kiffin, or do you think it's over for them?
I have been extremely impressed with Ole Miss through this entire playoff. Yes, they started off with Tulane, but since then they've been playing legitimately good opponents. I mean, granted, then it was a rematch against Georgia, who Georgia was appearing to be on a revenge uh, spree this whole time, and they got revenged instead. They were um, and like they've played their best football without Lane Kiffin, and they could have been easily mentally shell shocked. I I said it at the top of the show. I don't know much about what their transfer portal looks like. I would imagine they're losing some talent because of the coaching loss, but I don't know. I haven't heard. I have not delved into it. Whatever happened, it's hard. Ole Miss is a very dedicated, loyal program in a small market. Their Ole Miss fans love Ole Miss football, but it's Oxford, Mississippi, man. Like, you're in the SEC, and that's if you were not in the SEC, you would not get the attention that you do on a weekly basis. It's just how it is. Uh, I lived in Mississippi for a while. They're passionate about a lot of things, but they're not. They love their state, but not a lot of people like it's not a lot big tourist thing. There's not a lot of draw there. It's a hard market to build a program in, and Lane Kiffin took several years, and every single year he was there, Ole Miss did better. And I think it speaks to the quality of coach and the staff that he put there, that he pulled pulled up stakes and walked away in the biggest moment of the season, and they were still that good because that's what he put in place. It's impossible to tell right now. From what I've heard, the guy who's the interim coach is a diehard, Ole Miss. I think he's an alum who's been a coach there for decades or something like that. Hopefully, he's able to do something to keep it going. But Ole Miss was kind of a bad program before he got there, and it's too early to tell, but I do worry that without the big name brand, that they're just not going to be able to pull in the same kind of NIL deals that a Texas, an Oklahoma, an Alabama, uh, LSU, even Florida, if Florida can ever figure the heck out, um, there's no reason in the age of NIL that Florida should suck as much as they do, but that's another story. Uh, yeah, they I will believe it when I see it. I'm not super optimistic, and it's really a shame.
So to give some insight, Ole Miss is actually doing pretty good in the portal right now. I was shocked to see that myself, but I am kind of curious
Okay.
how this team turns out. Because I mean, at first when they hired this guy, I was like their defensive coordinator. I was like their defense is the weakest part of their team. Why would he be good for their team? And then he proved me very, very wrong. I don't know if it was the chip on their whole team's shoulders or if he has the power to team build like Lane Kiffin and that whole staff that's now leaving for LSU and other teams, but mainly LSU. Uh, I'm very curious to see what team he builds and if this transfer portal does really help them. But they are definitely losing some talent as well. So, but
Well, I think
yeah,
there's two parts that are going to determine what Ole Miss is next year. One is going to be their offensive coordinator. If that's going to keep up or if that's going to drop off. They have Keywan Lacey coming back, which is a huge part. He's a monster. And then it's going to be their QB situation. As of right now, it's Deuce Knight. And how confident do we feel about Deuce Knight? I don't know about that.
Never
So
heard of him.
yeah, those are the two big question marks right now. I think they're going to be a solid team next year. But what they replicate what they did this year, that's a tough ask. One that in their history they have not done. So to have a replicate again, I don't think so.
Well, Chance, to really quick to your point, they weren't supposed to do what they did this year in the first place. Like they did majorly outperform, and I guess, and maybe I'm sounding like I'm contradicting what I just said, but that is one thing I mean, I don't have a lot of good things to say about NIL or the portal or really the state of broad big picture college football right now. But this is one thing that about this volatility can sometimes breed stability if people want to go somewhere. You know, if they can bring in people to the portal, if people are like, well, I really do just want to play at Ole Miss just because it's not Alabama, then they might do that. You know, it is a possibility. So if they're able to sustain it, I think that would be very good for college football.
I think that they're a solid borderline playoff team next year. That's where I think they are right now. Because I mean, they've got back a lot of good key guys. They played well. Their coach seems competent. But again, I've got that OC that I'm questioning, and I've got their QB that I'm questioning. And then, I mean, they seemingly figured out good parts of their defense. We'll see if that's actually true or holds up next year. But I mean, I can also see them. I don't see them getting to the semis next year. I just don't. I see a lot of. I mean, Texas seems destined right now. Oregon looks good. Indiana's not going to drop off. There's so many teams that are up there that it would be quite a story if they were able to do that. And kudos to them if they are. But yeah, maybe a borderline playoff team to not to somewhere in the top 25, maybe.
You are sounding very optimistic for this team. I do not hold that.
Well, they've got good pieces still. They've like Keelan Lacey has the ability to be the best running back in college football next year.
But with the question marks of who's going to be the quarterback, which is a huge integral piece. Obviously,
Yes.
they don't have the guys that are going to help develop a quarterback like they've had before. Now they don't have
Correct.
an offensive coordinator that has these electric plays that are going to work now. I think their offense is going to have a massive drop off. I think they could keep some defensive momentum. I think they might actually be slightly more defensive oriented next year because they now have a defensive head coach. So
They'll have to.
they might be better in that regard. But a playoff team or a fringe playoff team, I don't see that at all. I could see them probably
Well, okay. So
probably right
Deuce
where LSU is right now with like 4 or 5 losses, but not a playoff team by any means.
What? Let's talk about so Chamberlain, as of right now, let's count him out. But there's always a chance that he somehow wins a lawsuit against the NCAA and gets his eligibility. As of right now, he lost it as of this week. Just if you didn't know, Connor. Deuce Knight is one of the highest rated QBs in his class out of high school. The games he played at Auburn were okay. He has a lot of room to grow, but I mean, what if this coaching staff did learn something about offense from Lane Kiffin and I can't remember the offensive coordinator's name. Do you remember, Chase? I'm sure you do.
Uh,
You should know him.
yeah, no, I forgot his name already.
Okay. Anyway, what if they learn something and they keep up the offense, or like those players they've I'm sure they've got the mentality of it. So I mean, yeah, maybe that is overshooting it a little bit, Chase, but I don't expect them to be a bad team. I think that they will be where they were in years past, where they're out of reach, maybe in like the 16 to 20 spot. I'll put them there. 16 to 25.
Yeah, we'll obviously see what happens with the format and if there's more teams because there's already a lot of noise about changing the format again.
16 to 25, man, they could easily make the playoff at any of those rankings.
Yeah,
As of right now, no.
If we just let every team in the playoff and completely disregard the entirety of the regular season and completely discredit it,